It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. It is your Feel Good Breakfast Show Expresso on S3. And when it comes to redecorating your home, nothing adds life and a touch of vigor as much as a healthy dose of plant babies. Now, many people regard plants as less sentient, less important, less important than people, yet our existence is all intertwined. It's these intriguing characteristics that artist Lauren Chantal has captured in her exhibition, Plant Babies, a series of plant portraits in acrylics that will run in the gallery space at the Yard, Cape Town, from tomorrow until the 9th of March. Lauren, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Talk to me the inspiration. What was behind Plant Babies?
Okay, well, I've been painting plants since 2004. Plant Babies is really me noticing how much people are embracing plants in their homes and in their lives, millennials and Gen X especially. I read this lovely joke about how millennials love plants because they can't afford apartments or kids.
Oh, well, that's true. I mean, if you think about it, a lot of us, the plant is like the easiest thing because it is living. I've heard if you talk to your plant, it will grow. If you have the right atmosphere, it will thrive. And obviously the reversal takes place. But you capture these on acrylic. And I see you've brought some of your pieces along that we will be getting a bit of a demonstration later. But tell me, as a whole, how many plant babies do you have? Real ones at home?
Well, my husband is actually the plant parent of the house.
Okay.
He does a bit of landscaping on the side, and I think his gentle obsession is probably what inspired me the most. But we do have a bit of a greenhouse inside the house and a beautiful garden outside. We're very lucky in that respect. But I don't think you need that much space to really have a relationship with plants. Even if you live in a really tiny studio or a one-room space, plants can really bring a lot of beauty, a lot of joy, and a lot of life-giving presence into your space. Not only do they release oxygen into the air, but they also teach us so much. They need water, and they need soil, and they need sunlight to thrive. So they're a lot more self-sufficient than we are as people. We need a lot more than that. But I loved what you said about how plants can really thrive if you talk to them. And I read this wonderful thing from a Japanese researcher who said that if you speak love into the world, and then he looked at water, he spoke love into water, and he looked at it under a microscope and saw these beautiful patterns. But remember that plants are largely made of water, so when you talk to them, they do respond. Their cellular structure changes and creates beauty. So that's why people say if you talk to plants, they'll grow better. I really do see that. My son did a little experiment for school where he played classical music to one group of plants, and he played sort of grindcore hard rock to the other. And of course, the classical group grew faster, looked healthier. So there's a lot in being able to have an energetic relationship with plants that helps them to thrive. And yeah, my work is about that.
And well, let's unpack your work, because some of your artwork is very realistic looking and others more abstract.
Yes.
When do you decide that, how do you draw your inspiration from your art? Talk me through the techniques that you use on your canvases.
Sure. So the first place I start with is I will see a plant, and it will speak to me, and it will say, paint me. And I know that sounds quite kooky, but that really is the process. I look at it and I go, oh my gosh, that's beautiful. Then I take the plant into my studio and I move it around a lot, and I move around it a lot. And I try and get an angle that I think looks good. You know, when you're doing a selfie, you do the same thing.
It's all about the angle, it's all about the light.
It's all about that. So I'm literally doing a planty. So I do the same with the plants, and then they sit for me like the way a person would sit for a portrait.
Okay.
And then I paint them straight onto canvas. So I don't do any prep work. So I'm doing a very expressionistic, impressionistic kind of take on the plants. And I try and get them out in one setting so that the light and the mood and everything is the same. And I work like that. It's very spontaneous. It's very much a reaction to the plant.
Oh, incredible. Yeah. And I know you've got your exhibition at the Yard in the Silo District.
Yes.
Can people just attend? I believe it is free.
I would love them to. Please come. It opens tonight at 6, and then it's open until the 9th of March, and the yard is open every day. And yes, it is free for the public, and we're doing a walkabout on Saturday, and that is also free, and that walkabout is combined with a talk on plants by Flourish Plant Studio, and I think we've got a little bit of a treat in store for you later.
We do have a little bit of a treat. Well, stay tuned. Lauren's not going anywhere. She's got some blank canvases here, so I can tell you, I think that should be a good enough hint of what the treat is.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. It is your feel-good breakfast show, Expresso on S3, and we are back with the talented artist Lauren Chantal and her exhibition called Plant Babies, a series of plant portraits that is displayed at the Yard, Cape Town from tomorrow, and that will run until the 9th of March. She's also joined by seasoned art teacher Sue Kaplan, who focuses on art as part of holistic therapy. Welcome to both of you. Sue, it's great to have you here. And I can imagine, Lauren, must be great to have someone who you've learned from next to you right now.
Absolutely. I mean, I think I've been doing classes with Sue 4 years.
I think so.
And I owe her absolute debt of being able to grow as an artist, to progress my work. I've learned so much. Sue has a wonderful way of just making you feel like you don't have limits and to break down your kind of fears. And that's been a wonderful unlocking for me, and I know she does that for her other students too, but maybe Sue
Thank
can
you.
tell us a bit
Thank
about that.
you. Yeah.
Well, before we get into that and unpacking, I know that there's a couple of painting things that you want to do, so we can maybe multitask between the painting and the talking. But Sue, I wanted to know from you, what are some of the benefits, or how is it that people find therapy and peace or therapeuticness through painting?
You know, I think that it really depends on your circumstances. I mean, for some people, it's a very much about a meditational process. It gives you a sense of peace. It gives you a place to be quiet and just to go inward. For other people, it's very much about expressing their own voice. Maybe they haven't had the opportunity because of their circumstances to express their feelings about things. They've been silenced, or for other people, it's just about making a painting like Lauren does, where she's expressing a feeling of hope by the use of her bright, beautiful colors.
And I mean, Lauren, I mean, I'm seeing this blank canvas and I see all this paint. Where do you start? When you start off with the canvas, I mean, you've said especially if you're going to be painting a plant, you don't do any pre-planning, you just plant it like a portrait.
Yes.
But where would you normally start just to get yourself in the right mindset?
Okay, no, great. So firstly, I'm a very naughty student, and I think I drive Sue nuts because Sue does a lot of beautiful process work. And the point of that is to really break down your barriers. We all have this fear about, oh, I'm not an artist, or I can't do this. And Sue thinks that's rubbish. So she has a lot of exercises that really help you get over yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember the first class I did with Sue, we had to do a drawing. So then you sit there and you're trying so hard to do your drawing. And then you do your drawing and Sue says, now tear it up. And you're like, oh,
To spend all the time doing the drawing.
But it really helps you let go of all that nonsense.
And the perfectionism, I think, that a lot of
Yes.
people expect to
And
have.
I think a lot of people have limiting beliefs, and that are very difficult to just, you know, believe in themselves, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, Lauren, please, let's start on
Sure.
this canvas. What were you going to show us today?
Okay, I want to show you some basic kit because I really believe anyone can do this and it's not expensive.
Okay.
So I'm sure you all know these.
Yep, some styrofoam
I think this
from
was sweet corn. So
sweet corn, mushrooms, your meat.
yeah, anything. You don't have to buy a pallet. You're definitely recycling. So there we go. It's an old honey jar.
And that's just for your water, for your brushes.
Clean your brushes, etc. Much to my teacher and friends' horror, I use the cheapest student paint.
And
I've started graduating to better paint, but really it's inexpensive.
okay.
You don't need a lot of brushes.
No, you don't. Okay.
Yeah, you choose your canvas. The size can be from big to small to tiny. And then the first thing is to prime and choose the undercolor. And the reason you prime is because, look at the white. It's very stark. It doesn't give you a nice undercolor. So if you have a look at the painting there, you can see,
front.
yeah, you can see bits of the undercolor showing through, and that's a technique I like.
Okay.
I think also just because it stops you from being afraid, because you've got a color already on.
And you're going to be painting.
Yeah, and the white is
Yes.
but terrifying.
Yes, you've broken the sanctity.
Yes.
That's a good way to look at it. And then I decide on my subject. But a lot of artists would do prep work. They would do drawings, they'd take photographs, they might do collage. I mean, Sue, you have some beautiful books. I don't know if you want to show.
This is just a little concertina book that is very nice if you're trying to create. You're stuck or you have a creative block or something, and if you just start kind of doodling in a little book, and you just add to it, and then maybe you want to make notes, or you.
And it
you
just,
know, and it's cheap,
ongoing.
and it's ongoing.
Look at that. And this is just all you doodling, drawing
Yeah.
inspiration.
Exactly. It's just for and little ideas, and maybe you had a dream or something, and you want to write it down. Or
Yeah, it's beautiful. So some people might take a page in the book and do a painting inspired by that. And that's a beautiful process. I just work differently, and it's all valid.
Yeah. Lauren,
Yeah.
are you able to paint something for us?
We're gonna try. I just wanted to show you my old empty laundry tubby. I keep my paint in there, so you don't even need like a fancy box. But this is what we call a painting in progress, or a work in progress. Sue and I were laughing earlier because it's a bit of a rainbow mushmash.
Okay.
It doesn't have any clarity, and you can't see the focus, which is the plant. So Sue, I think I need some direction.
yeah, I think like maybe your colors are a little bit too pastel-y. Maybe you need to introduce a darker tones, because it's all kind of the same hue, and maybe bring in some very strong contrasts for the background.
So nothing's popping like Zoe's beautiful
Yeah.
lipstick.
Okay,
We need some
so we
oomph.
need some popping colors. So
Yes.
what color are we going to go for?
Well, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I would sort of go for deeper colors that are like maybe a darker green or a navy blue.
Navy blue.
So you just squeeze it out into the palette and then mix it up. But Sue, you know, often I struggle to mix colors, and you gave us a lot of color theory tips.
Yeah.
Maybe we can talk about that, because I think it will help people a lot.
I tell you what, while you get starting on this painting, I know we've also got a delicious recipe that's going to be happening in the kitchen. But Lauren, your exhibition is at the Yard in the Silo District from tomorrow until March, the 9th of March. So make sure you head on over there. It's absolutely free. We're going to start painting, and then when we are done in the kitchen, we'll come back to us and we'll show you what we've done.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. It is your Feel Good Breakfast Show Expresso on S3, and Lauren's just finishing up her piece of artwork that she's just shown us, and look at how the different layers are just simply popping. Sue has been incredible in guiding Lauren through this process, and if you want to get your hands on some art classes or perhaps find out more, visit SueKaplan.com, or you can follow at Susie_art class. That's SUZI_art class if you want to join in on some art classes. Thank you to the both of you. Lauren's not going anywhere, as we have more plant babies to talk about. And of course, stay tuned to your Feel Good Breakfast Show. Let's quickly catch up with those morning headlines.